Hi friends, good morning to all of you. A warm welcome. This is Angular 6 tutorial and we are discussing about the course structure, that what we're going to have in this Angular 6 course. So we'll start from the environmental setup, then we see the project setup, how you can set up the project. In environmental setup we'll see what are the dependencies we have before starting the project, like what are the editors or the servers, the IDEs, whatever we need we will see in the environment setup. Whereas in the project setup we'll see how we can get started with the project, the basic set of files that we need in a project, Angular project, to start with. Then one by one we'll pick all the features like components. We'll see modules, how important modules and components are. We'll see data binding. In the data binding we'll see the two-way data binding and the single data binding. Then we talk about the event binding, like how you can bind any of the event from your HTML page back to your code behind file. We'll talk about templates in this one, how we can dynamically render templates, right, according to the condition. Then we talk about the directives and pipes, like how important these directives and pipes are and how can we create our own custom directives and pipes. Then finally we jump into the advanced part of the course, which is services, which starts from services in fact. So in the services we'll see how we can write our services, how we can write our UI business logic and set up our asynchronous calls in the services. Then we talk about the routing and single page application, so how routing and single page application goes together in Angular, we'll see that as well. Then we talk about HTTP services and observable. HTTP services, I've already mentioned that in the services that we will be writing the asynchronous call. So those asynchronous calls are nothing but HTTP calls, right? So we will set up our HTTP calls to our API, correct? And we see the observable pattern, like what is observable pattern, how it is, how we write the code in observable pattern, why we use observable pattern. So we'll see all this, what, how and why about it. Then we see forms, so all the forms, its validation, how many ways we have to write a form or a form validation. We'll see all those things. Then we come to animation. That is a very cool feature what we have in Angular 6 specifically. We talk about materials. When we say materials, means Angular material. We'll talk about Angular material. It's a third-party integration, but it's a very good one to have in your project. Angular material basically contain all the inbuilt tools, components which you require on every kind of application you have. Let's say model pop-up, your alerts, right, buttons, datetime pickers, and grids, and many more. Then we have a brief session on mean stack. So guys, mean stack is a very cool thing which is going in the market right now. I mean, I won't say it's a absolutely a new technology, but yes, it is relatively new. For past 2-3 years, I mean, companies have started working in mean stack very aggressively. Then mean stack is basically an abbreviation where we say M stands for MongoDB, which is NoSQL DB, no RDBMS kind of stuff. So it's pure document based approach of storing the data. That's why we call it NoSQL. Then E stands for Express.js. Imagine you don't need Java, .NET, PHP to write your APIs. You have Express layer, which is a node module only, where you can write your API calls. Then you have your Angular, and then finally you have your Node, which will provide you all the server feature or package manager. So this whole mean stack, the best part about this mean stack is it's completely free, it's open source, no licensing required, right? And then finally we'll discuss about the live project. The live project where you will integrate all these points, right, in that project, and we are going to host this live project at some URL, right? So that is what we are going to study, we're going to learn, we're going to discuss, we're going to implement in this Angular 6 course. Let's see the next slide to understand what is our project, right? Okay, so our live project name is WeBuildNation. We have already purchased a domain called webuildnation.com, and whatever we implement, we are going to upload the same content over this URL. This WeBuildNation is already happening in mobile, so we are going to have project on the web, right? Let's discuss briefly about this project. So this application is something where it will connect people in order to help each other, right? So when we talk about the technical part of this project, so we will be having Angular 6, Angular Material, Bootstrap, CSS3, HTML5 for all the front-end programming. For API and DB, we will be either using MeanStack or .NET SQL Server. I will be covering from both point of view, because I mean, you might be a .NET developer, you might not be a .NET developer. So if you belong to .NET Java, you will more be interested in .NET Java, SQL Server, Oracle. And if you are, let's say, from front-end technology itself, I would suggest, like, don't go in that direction. The MeanStack itself is enough for you. So I'll touch the MeanStack as well. So you will get the flavor of, both the backend part. Okay. Let's discuss about the project more, what we have inside the project. So as I said, this application is supposed to connect people to each other. So these are the following sector where we can connect to each other, and we'll discuss about each and every part one by one, step by step. So if you see the education part, so in the education part, what we're going to have is, there will be an application where we have a menus, the categories at the top, nav bar at the top, where we have education, health, food, soldier, talent, clean India, and help. So if you see education, so once a person will open education tab, what he's going to see is where you will be having a form where all the properties will be there, which will finally create an education drive for you. Point is, the idea behind this education is, let's say you wanted to create a education drive for some underprivileged people, right? Let's say you are good in math, science, English, or whatever subject it is. You can pick that subject from the drop down, and you can fill the detail, like where and all you are going to have this education drive, and then you can submit it. The moment you submit, all the members of this application will get the notification that Mr. XYZ has created a education drive at such and such place. So if they wanted to join your drive, they can simply click on join, and hence they will be able to join the drive. If let's say they wanted to create their own drive, they can create that as well. So the same thing goes with the health and food as well. For example, health, let's say you are a doctor or you are a practitioner, right, who wanted to contain, or who wanted to arrange a drive, or to create a drive on the health facilities. I mean, a simple example would be, let's say you have bunch of medicines, like important medicines which is required, I mean, when you have, let's say, flu, viral infection and all. So you can do health drive at such level as well, where you are not a doctor or compounder or a practitioner, but you simply have all the medicines, required medicines. You can create a drive, and you can say, hey, I'm having these kind of medicines with me. I am going to such and such place, which is an underprivileged place, and I'm going to distribute all the medicines. So people, doctor, practitioner, right, wanted to join you, they can join to give the advice. If not, they can create their own drive as well. Let's say you are a doctor, you wanted to create a drive on let's say dengue, malaria, or any of the infection, viral, or any of the disease, right, on some at some underprivileged area. So they can go ahead, create a drive, and other doctors, other practitioners, other people can join as well, right? Imagine a nurse who wanted to give her assistance, her services to underprivileged people. So she can also, I mean, opt for this drive and can come there. So point is, you see, a doctor created a drive on one fine day. A doctor created a drive, compounder, practitioner, civilian, right, who has medicines, nurses who can give their services, all will get together and help those underprivileged people, right? So that's the idea of this health section. Then we have food. This is very interesting fact. In India, I mean, the kind of food we waste is more than the amount of food that Great Britain produces, right? It's an interesting fact, rather shameful for us, right? So let's say in this sector, what we do is, let's say you throw a party, or there's a marriage, right? We often see there are a lot of food get wasted, right, which we never know we're going to get thrown at. So what I'm saying is, through this tab, what we can do is, let's say I'm having a function at my home, and I see some 10-20 plates of food will get wasted. So what I can do is, rather than throwing it into a dustbin, what I can do is I can go to this food tab, create a drive where I can say I have approximately 5 to 10 or 10 to 20 food for 10 to 20 people approx, and I can mention my place, my address and everything, and I can say submit. That will notify all the members of this application, and what they can do is, I mean, any of the one who know any slum area or any area where where underprivileged people used to live, he or she can come, that person can come to my house, collect all the food and distribute at that area, right? Again, that is how we will help each other, that is how we will connect to each other, right? So it's a simple rule of demand and supply. Same thing we're going to do with the soldier tab as well. In the soldier tab, let's say the soldier's family required a help, right? What they can do is they can create the page, mention the badge number, and then they can mention what kind of help they required from the civilians, I mean rest of the public. So they can mention, let's say one lady soldier's wife is falling short of the information that how she can get her son admitted in the hospital. So that kind of help, if once she submit, we can, or any of the applicant or any of the member of this application can go ahead and help that lady. Or let's say she is finding difficulty for getting admission in the school for her son, that also can be done. So any kind of help, take an example of financial help as well. For example, she is finding difficulty for for her day-to-day life, so she wants some money, so that also we can give it to her. That kind of help also we can provide in this section. So as I said, it will contain the complete help for a soldier's family, right? Like right from social, medical to your financial help. The next tab what we have is talent, right? And talent, you can see in this world we have so many talented people, but never get the right platform. So at this talent tab, what they can do is they can upload their video, they can upload their images, they can upload their talent, like in which area they are talented. For example, someone is IT professional, not getting a right platform, he or she can show his or her talent. Someone is good in dance, someone is good in other artistic activities. I mean, it depends upon that person. If the person is talented, he or she can upload the video or the images or write about their talent, right? Which finally through this application we can submit to different part of the society where this talent can be recognized. Let's say a dancing institution, a painting institution, IT companies, right? Or mechanical companies, chemical companies, like whatever it is. Whoever wants such talent, this information can be provided to that section. So that is the idea of this talent section. Then finally we have a Clean India. We all know this is going on in our country for past I guess close to 2-3 years, right? Let's bring this one to more professionally towards the society. We will have a Clean India tab where a person can go and again create a drive that I'm going to such and such area to clean it up, right? So others can join you, and I mean, you started a drive and you will find, like, on one fine morning 500 people or 1000 people or 50 people. I mean, that depends upon the range, I mean the connectivity, have joined you. So this is what we're going to do in this Clean India tab. Then finally we have help. That is a very important tab. Imagine in the middle of night someone want a blood. So like in this tab, going to this tab, that person can say I need A negative or B positive or whatever it is. Immediately the notification will go to all the users of this application, and then they can further like find out if they don't have such blood group, so they can find out and get that person, get the help to that person. So this is what we're going to do in the help section. And apart from this, I mean, there will be any kind of emergency which a person is going through with, can go ahead and ask for it. And as I said, notification will go to